At least Jolts and K6 have still been in it. That's true about his YouTube shit, but he has been on the Twitch grind. I mean, his Twitch community is huge. He has blown up so much since Borderlands. I don't blame him for not playing Borderlands anymore. I mean, he kicked the game's ass. I agree he's riding the wave on views, but he's totally been doing the work here on Twitch. One of the big things with Baru is he ended up being really good at other games. He not only was really, really good at Borderlands, but he ended up being good at like a freaking Call of Duty Zombies. He ended up being really good. He was really good at that indie farming game that people love. I think it's called Stardew Valley. He ended up being good at that. He just like was actually just really good at games. They Are Billions. He ended up being really good at. And he's got kind of a... I'm not the world's biggest Baru fan, but he does have kind of a contagious laugh, and he gets a lot of joy out of games. That's the big thing with him that I think is likable about his content, is he just... Binding of Isaac, right? He ended up being really good at that. He just seems to really enjoy himself when he plays games, which makes it kind of grow on you. Oh my god. I don't think what happened there, Walter, is I just don't think he needed YouTube anymore, you know? He's one of the biggest streamers in the world now. You know, around Borderlands 2 time, he was popular, but he wasn't where he is now. He's his own thing now. He is a freaking... I don't like him not playing Borderlands. I don't like him not playing Borderlands and having fun. Are you being sarcastic, Walter? Fuck that shit. I mean, I don't blame him, though. Like I said, I didn't play this game for a long-ass time. I was done, man. I played this game like 2.5 years. I was so fucking over this game that it just happened spontaneously. It's been tough to kind of throw myself back into it, to be honest with you. I've talked about that a little bit. It's gotten better as I've leveled up and got into higher modes, but I just felt done with it. So I'm sure it's just once you're done with the game, you've probably experienced it yourself many times. It's sarcasm. I don't know about the Twitch grind he's been on. Okay, well, he didn't make any YouTube videos for a while, but he's streamed really consistently. And he has gotten so popular. He was smaller than Gathalion, if you watch Gathalion. And now he's considerably larger than Gathalion. He gets up there with, like, Carnage and Lyric. He's become one of those people. He was able to do what he did with Borderlands with a bunch of other games. Yeah, he's really big now. He's really big. He streams a lot. He started to have a more normal schedule now, but there for a while he was just living on Twitch, which also like had its toll on him. I think he was mostly living on Twitch because he didn't really have anything else he was doing or up to, and didn't know what else to do. And he ended up like, he was always having some kind of mental health stuff going on, you know, struggling because he would start to be isolated and feel alone, and you could tell it fucked with him more than a few times. Which created some episodes that ran their course during the drama of Borderlands, and then would later run their course post Borderlands. Wow, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I don't like it. Don't like what, Walter? YouTube is like The Empire Strikes Back. It still is getting worse all the time. It's true. It's true. And so if you don't like making YouTube, you don't have like a real desire for it, then why would you do it when you make more money on Twitch? Like, okay, I'm gonna gain an extra $10,000 a year, but I really fucking hate the videos, so it's just not worth it to me. I hate that damage rebounding thing. I learned that from... They pulled that into all their characters in the future, too. All the Battleborn classes feel like they have that. Isaac used to be the beast at that thing. You don't like that he lived on Twitch, or... Well, with his popularity, he's been really popular for a while. He's been really popular for a while. You'll know it more and more and more. As you stream and you become a streamer, you'll, you know, form even more opinions on what these people are. I used to like Baru a lot more than I do now. I still like him, and I think he's really, like, just a natural streamer. If you can be born for the times, he was born for the times. He belonged on this platform, it seems like, but I think that his headspace is... He's really struggled with that. Because what I didn't like is that when him and Gathalion had like a falling out, the whole falling out was... It's stupid that anybody knows anything about this, but those were like Borderlands fans. The OG Borderlands fans, you know, that was our soap opera. Adam watched around this time too. Is Gathalion and Baru were like the best friends. They made all their content together. They had meetings every day. They built their Twitch careers together. They were super tight. And they were grinding, farming, Borderlands content, streaming it, making videos, doing playthroughs, the whole thing that, you know, the old school YouTubers used to do. It was different back then, like, you know, Let's Plays were much more popular and they were a lot less professional. You know, Let's Players are still really popular, but it's so much more professional now. It's like my content was the old way. Yeah, but Zillion OP is still great. Wasn't that the Fortnite guy? Anyways, they would play with Morning After Kill, which was step 2 of the drama we'll get into. Oh yeah, the wheelchair guy. And they would play with... Oh, I'm forgetting his name. He's an Australian guy. He's an Aussie. And if Adam's here, he could tell you. I forget his name right now. He still streams though. Anyway, they did this for like well over a year, probably 2 years, and around the time the Borderlands content started getting fishy, the Headhunter packs were coming out, you know, and things started going, where the hell's the future, and Destiny's coming around. Well, everybody, suddenly I mean, Gathalion and Baru no longer got along. And no one could figure out what the fuck happened. And like at midnight they would upload videos explaining to one another what was going on and explaining to other people what was going on. Then they would delete the videos and nobody could figure out why suddenly they weren't doing this so-called allegiance run where they were only running one manufacturer each. Well, it turns out Gathalion's wife had texted him and said, hey, you know, it's time for Snooki, and Goth was like, yeah, sure, of course. And Baru was really pissed about that, which I think is dumb, and we should never even have learned this. But that's YouTube for you. But I completely agree with Gathalion in that situation. Go make Whoopi. It's a video game. But Baru took that as like, what the fuck? You know, like, priorities, man. Well, I mean, priorities is your wife. But that starts the split. And that made me like Baru less, because I thought, like, your priorities are weird. It totally makes more sense that you would go hump than... Right, you're just gonna go fuck your wife. What the fuck? So, anyways, they got in this huge fight. But I think it was largely the result of, like, burnout. And I want to reiterate that I wish I didn't know this stuff myself. Look at me, I'm your wife now. But if you were a Borderlands fan and you watched those guys make their content, you couldn't help but become a part of that whole thing that happened. So now we step forward to Destiny. And you thought, okay, these guys are going to get back together. They're all really good at games together. They all play games together, and they've been close this whole time. They're going to get back together for Destiny, which we all know has not ever occurred. And it got more complicated than that. You thought that they were going to run with Morning After Kill, and... Well, Morning After Kill made a big video about this. that Balru didn't think, since he was growing on Twitch so well, that Morning After Kill was really appropriate for his channel and was going to be good for his brand and help him. And so no one played with him at launch, and Balru just didn't even stream Destiny at all. It never really become known in the Destiny community. Of course, Gathalion ended up exploding. He was already big, but became one of the Destiny guys, if not the Destiny guy. And Morning After Kill's trajectory's kind of been sort of static since then. But Balru went and he started streaming other games and was able to bring all the people over with him, and slowly but surely it proved that he was really good at all these other games too. He's great at Binding Isaac, like you said, Stardew Valley, Call of Duty Zombies. He was always be one of the top people in the world for that. He did the One Life run. He was the first person in the world to do that. So he made a name for himself. And the rest, as they say, you know. But a lot of us that came from that period felt like it was shitty that Morning After Kill got left behind, because he was a part of the original crew of Borderlands players. It was weird that Balru got so pissed off that Goth decided to go have sex with his wife instead of play even more Borderlands after 17,000 years of Borderlands. I mean, dudes, of course you're gonna go for the fucking Poontang. I got a jet. Have a good one, dude. All right, later, Rikers. Take care, buddy. I hope you had fun. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you had a good time with Sarah. Let me hide your wife now. Rikers, good. You have a good night. You have a great night. You have a fantastic night. You have a fabulous night. You have a superior night. You have a wonderful night. You have a fabulous night. You have a grand night, a great night, and a good night. So look, I try not to be overly critical, because I'm not above reproach nor close. There's plenty of things that are shitty about me and people probably don't like. I'm grateful that many of you seem to like hanging out here enough to continue to come back. But I'm sure there are many, 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 many people who have said, this guy is a fucking joke. So I don't want to be overly critical of Balru. He's had a lot of success on here. He's done well, he's good at games, he's got a pretty contagious laugh, etc., etc. But that was the story that the fans of Borderlands and the content creators for Borderlands back then experienced. I wish Adam was here, because he remembers and can talk about all that drama. Thought your goodbye was weak shit. Well, he'd already gotten it once. If he was playing for it right now, Charles blown the fuck out. Yeah, well, that's Charles for you, isn't it? His ass is blown out. So, Water, you're not the biggest fan of Balru? He's probably injecting the marijuana, it's right. I think that Gathalion represents a better form of what relationships with gaming should look like. You know, the guy still has a life, and I think that's important. And I think there's been many times that a lot of streamers on this platform step over to the dark side, which is that your whole fucking life is the game, and you lose sight of everything that way, I think. For being pressed for time, I sure ain't pushing the content hard, am I? But I will tell you this, I'll bet you that Balru is probably one of the best Borderlands 3 players in the world. It's going to be super interesting. It's going to be super interesting because another thing where Goth, I agree with him, is that I thought Borderlands 1 did a lot of stuff better than Borderlands 2, especially the scaling and how the guns hit. And Balru never got as much into Borderlands 1. And it looks like Borderlands 3 is going to be a true amalgamation of the two games. You know, it's got that dark, hard-hitting guns, better scaling, but it's got the loot fiesta of Borderlands 2. And I'll be curious to see how much Balru reacts to Borderlands Amalgamation, yes, thank you. I'll be curious to see how Baru reacts to some of those Borderlands 1 aspects.
I can't remember that deserter's name. It was something unisexual. Taylor, Tanner, something like... I feel really bad killing someone without knowing their name. Terry! It was Terry! Whew, I just felt guilty there.
See, around this time, I didn't even know Broman was a streamer, but apparently Broman was well known in the Borderlands community, and then Broman became like Gathalian's left-hand man. I like Boram because he's smart and good, but he just fell off YouTube and let other people in his territory. And Mac, I really hate those guys, but Baru disrespected me when he left. You really hate those guys? Well, since you grew up hard, Walter, since you grew up hard, I'm surprised you dislike Mac, because that's exactly why Baru wouldn't spend any time with Morning After Kill, because he grew up hard. He grew up in an orphanage and shit, you know, and he's done drugs, he smokes and stuff, and like, that's something Adam and I talk about. We like that Morning After Kill is real, he's got a story, he's seen a little bit of stuff, he's been on the streets a little bit. Not that we're from the fucking streets, but at least he can relate to average people. And I just really don't like that attitude. I dislike that attitude entirely, that because of where somebody comes from or because of how they talk, you make a judgment on them. And I think, you know, how much Wilso's able to correct my grammar and enunciation, like... Baru thinks he's smart, and he's probably pretty smart, but... Speaking of grammar and pronunciation... Living in the Apple, like I was born to Mac Steve Jobs to play God on the track. Not trying to be devil's advocate, but I mean, I'm glad you like Baru, because I definitely respect Baru's skills, and I used to like him a lot more than I did after that whole thing. I don't think just because somebody cusses like a sailor and came from a rough background means that they're necessarily someone you want to try to distance yourself from as soon as possible. Also, I think Morning After Kill gets a lot of shit. Reddit was brutal to that man. Fucking sat there and just picked on his voice. Like, oh, it's so annoying. Oh, it's so awful. It's so scratchy. I just... Alright, I'm sure your voice sounds like... velvet. Couple more 24-hour streams, we'll get it. Yeah, we'll finally get Amalgamation. I didn't like it. His voice, right? Well, yeah, if you don't like his voice, hey, a lot of people don't like his voice. But I don't think it makes it right to sit there and be like, you got a fucking terrible voice, you son of a bitch. Because how would you feel if I said that to you? That, and to be honest, if there isn't Morning After Kill, there probably isn't a Baru and a Gathalion. Morning After Kill showed him how to do it. Got him into it, convinced him to do it. I laugh because we both know it's wrong. I would probably laugh. You say that, but you're about to be streaming soon. And you'll probably be tougher than most, I'm sure, but it'll start to eat at you. Don't listen to me if it sounds stupid, but I'm telling you, some of the little stuff that the trolls do. It'll be an itch, right? Right in your heart. We both know it's wrong. What are trolls? True, but I honestly didn't like his voice. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. No, you're not the only one. I'm just... It's not wrong to dislike his voice. But I do think it's wrong to sit there and tell the guy on Reddit where you can hide behind a keyboard and you don't even gotta fist up if you want to insult the man. Say your voice sounds like fucking diarrhea. I mean, the guy made a video. Someday, Walter, you're going to make a video. You're going to put work into it. You're going to try to help people. You're going to try to make a guide. You're going to try to make sure it's accurate. You're not going to make any clickbait bullshit. And you're going to try to do a solid. And it's going to end up taking, like, at least 12 to 20 hours of your life and probably more. I know I've made plenty of them. And somebody is going to sit there and they're going to look at you after you did that work and they're going to spit on you for it. And it's going to hurt. I've had it happen many times. It's going to hurt. That's why I'm careful with how I talk on these topics. There's one guy that does daily updates on Half-Life 3 news. Like, one Fortnite video I made on, like, how to build a slaughter dome. They're not the best, but you get good by doing. And they did take me a lot of time, and editing, and filming, and recording, and scripting, and doing the commentary. So there's that. Yeah, of course, of course. And you'll end up having fans, too. You'll end up having fans 100% too, and it'll mean the world to you. Like you guys mean to me. I mean, you know, like I say, it's family. But, you know, you just feel such a large sense of obligation and gratitude is what happens. Like Adam says, you get humbled, you know. You really feel like you have an obligation to be the best possible self you can be because somebody's decided to back you up. And of course, that makes it worth it, and you always have to remember those people, but it doesn't mean the trolls don't get under your skin, too. It's just, sadly, the way the brain works, which you know all too well. You've experienced the pains of the mind. Those first few times that you get 0 views or somebody decides to say you're a fucking asshole for no reason at all, it'll just be like, what the fuck's the point? What's the point? Tell me what the point is. You can bust your ass for somebody as far as your hours put in and expect nothing in return. Expect nothing in return, and people still spit in your eye for it. And I kind of feel like that's because that's been my experience in some of these situations. That's how I felt like the whole morning after kill video on Reddit got taken, where it's like he posted on Reddit and they're all like, look here, you son of a bitch, you may have worked 30 hours on this video and knew how to operate equipment we don't know how to operate and took the time to film and inform us, but your voice sounds like scratchy diarrhea on sandpaper and I don't want to have anything to do with you, you motherfucker. It's like, is that really necessary? Why don't you just shut up? Voice sounds like baby angel farts. I like his voice, but the volume is what gets me. Is it too loud? I'm not saying the guy's perfect. He's not. He's not. I haven't been able to watch one of his videos in quite a while, actually. But I didn't think it was right to drop him. Well, I get paid, so there's one guy that does daily updates on Half-Life 3. But you know, that's one of those things, though, like another thing in this business, is I hate putting weight on people. When I've done this and we've had you guys come and hang out with us and Miss Parker and the rest of the gang, what I've, like I said, I've felt is an obligation, a duty to try to be my best self. And I don't understand the attitude that I see sometimes. The one that scares me to death. That you start to feel and try to make people oblige to you.
Hey, I'm Mercer, the cook for this dumbass crew. You know the number 2 top
I've defended Boogie a lot, but like Boogie's really bad about that. Every fucking week there for a while, it was some new mental health breakdown. And when you have people who actually, you know, that you get fans, or people who care about you, or whatever you want to call them, I don't know. Well, they'll try to look out for you. They'll be concerned, and it's just like, I don't feel like you should put that shit on them. I like the old school people, like Bob Barker. Like, that shit stays at home. A little bit of it's gonna bleed over, because that's just how it works. Or like Alex Trebek when he got pancreatic cancer. It's like, I got pancreatic cancer. I'm going to try to fight it. We're going to win. That's probably all you need to say. But here lately, it's like become this thing. Tax season is the ultimate example of, don't you feel bad for me? Don't you feel bad for me? And can you put some money our way? Like, that's my fucking nightmare. That's my biggest fear on this platform, is becoming that person. Pignosis is real. I don't get why people decide to talk shit. Someone instead of just moving on with their lives. Like, honestly, it's free not to be a piece of shit human being. Right. It's free. It's free. It doesn't take anything. It doesn't take any effort. Like, okay, you don't like his content. That's fine. That's your opinion. But do you need to rub his nose in it? No, you don't. Like, and if you don't like the video, you can critique it too. You could be like, you know, the volume's too loud. That's perfect. Or like, maybe you should get a new mic and work on your mixing. That's totally fair. But your voice sounds like diarrhea going through a shredder and reminds me of hellfire and having a pineapple shoved up my urethra. That's probably too much. That probably hurt his feelings pretty good. You need to work on that whole face thing, right? Supporters, yeah, supporters, right? So you get people that support you and you support them back and everything, you know, and you build a community. And I really don't hope to God, like, because like I say, it's like a nightmare of mine that whole tear in the beer thing every week, you got some new fucking problem. I feel like people come to you because they want somebody who doesn't have a lot of shit weighing on them, because everyone's got shit in their lives. Everyone's got shit in their lives. Stuff that's bothering them, stuff that's stressing them out, bills to pay, family things that go wrong, friend things that go wrong, whatever. People got shit weighing on them. So in this medium, you're supposed to be an entertainer. It seems to me that the one service that I can provide, because you only get paid in relation to the service you provide, it seems, is to be one place where that shit is not supposed to apply. This is supposed to be the place where, you know, at least this asshole is going to have a smile on his face and not tell me his life is just as shitty as mine, because there's no way. Which confuses me that tax season has had that kind of success. I know you mentioned, Wilso, the whole jerking off thing, and I agree with you. That was a really good point. But I want to know the kind of people that then continue to fund this. Do they get something out of this? Guys, it's getting really tough here. I may have to sell one of my condos. But you see it a lot. You see it a lot. A shift happens. A shift happens once you get in the habit, and it's dangerous. Sometimes you have to reveal what the fuck's going on with your life, because life happens. Ashton, you're a content creator. Something, you're a content creator. Walter, you will, but you guys know how that works. Shit happens. You gotta be real enough to let people know you're human, and that sometimes things are gonna get in the way, and you feel too. But I think you also have a responsibility to not let it bleed in too much, to not let other people have to feel your burden. And I see that a switch can happen where it's like there's a honeymoon period for a lot of new streamers. Like, oh, I'm fucking perfect. I'm happy all the time. I got no fucking problems. And everyone's like, this person is rocks. I can't. Oh, they make me feel so good. You're number one. You're number one. They do the whole thing. And then they start to get a fan base. And a shift starts to take place. Some streams are missed, etc., etc. Suddenly time goes away. So like, I followed a guy. Followed him for a long time. He was a smaller streamer. He's about my size now. He was really good at Borderlands, and I was a Borderlands fan, so I watched Borderlands people. Actually, I know his name. But we'll just call him Hunter, because TOS. I'd give him money. $10, $20, I don't know. I started throwing him donations. I probably gave him $100 over my lifetime. He disappeared. He ghosted. He probably had a lot of problems, but I was too young at that point to really understand that he had a lot of problems. He finally comes back after many months of years of silence, actually years. And I was like, oh, is the magic still there? His title was Need Money Bad, Any Donations Greatly Appreciated. He streamed 3 times, then disappeared. He showed up, had face tats, neck tats, the whole thing. So there went all that money. Instead of spending it on upgrading his stream or trying to grow his business, he spent it on fucking face tattoos. And only came back to Twitch because he needed another paycheck. A shift occurs. Suddenly you start letting people know that you fucking got a lot of problems. You're hurting. Life's gone to hell for you. Things ain't good. And you just need a lot of patience, time, support right now. And when that change comes, there's no going back. Were the tattoos cool? No, they weren't even cool. Like, he had like Hunter above his eyebrow, and he had like a robin on his neck. That must have been expensive, because it was actually like a really nice tattoo if it wasn't on his neck. Oh yeah, we gotta kill the fruit. I'm sorry. The focus is terrible. He baited people into caring about him and feeling like they are taking care of him. It's the hurt puppy type thing. He whimpers to get the treat. So it's the kind of person who's like the nurse. The nurse of the family is the person who comes and gives the taxis and all the money. That's the hurt puppy thing. Major street cred boost. I guess. I felt like an idiot because around the time I was giving him money, the way that I made money was I'd paint houses and like shit I do now. Like every once in a while I do some handyman work to make some money to, you know, help things out. So the money I'd get in a week was pretty set. But I'd get a little drunk and I'd throw him some money and I'd feel good about things and feel like, look at me. I'm making a difference. I guess kind of like the tax season thing. But he didn't beg for money back then. Don't snipe the fruit. Rule 101. But the thing is, all was revealed upon the comeback. All was revealed upon the comeback. I'm sure he got into drugs. He looked at